श्रावण पौर्णमी पूर्वस्थ शुक्रवारे चारुमती प्रभृति पूजिता करे देवादि गुरु गुह समर्पित मणिमय हारे दीन जन संरक्षण निपुण कनक धारे भावना भेद चतुरे भारती संकुल पदे कैवल्य वितरण पदे काक्षित फल प्रकरी श्रीवरलक्ष्मी नमस्तुभ्यम्।
दयापात्रं ज्ञानवैराग्यभूषणं श्रीमद्वेङ्कटनाथार्यं वन्दे वेदान्तदेशिकं लक्ष्मीनाथसमारम्भां नाथयां नमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्परां यो नित्यमच्युतपदाम्बुजयुग्मरुग्मव्यामोहदस्तदितराणि तृणाय मेने अस्मद्गुरोर्भगवतोऽस्य दयैकसिन्धोः रामानुजस्य चरणौ शरणं प्रपद्ये। माता पिता युवतयस्तनया विभूतिः सर्वं यदेव नियमेन मदन्वयानाम् आद्यस्य नः कुलपते बकुलाभिरामं श्रीमत्तदङ्घ्रियुगलं प्रणमामि मूर्धना भूतं सरश्च महदाह्वय भट्टनाथ श्रीभक्तिसारकुलशेखर योगिवाहान् भक्ताङ्घ्रिरेणु परकाल यतीन्द्रमिश्रान् श्रीमत्पराङ्कुशमुनिं प्रणतोऽस्मि नित्यम्। कूजन्तं राम रामेति मधुरं मधुराक्षरम् आरुह्य कविताशाखा वन्दे वाल्मीकि कोकिलं वाल्मीकिर्मुनिसिंहस्य कवितावनचारिणः शृण्वन् रामकथानाथं पुनयादि परां गतिं वेदवेदवरे पुंसि जाते दशरथात्मजे वेदः प्राचेतसादासीत् साक्षात् रामायणात्मना अञ्जनानन्दनं वीरं जानकी शोकनाशनं कपीशम् अक्षहन्तारं वन्दे लङ्का भयङ्करं मनोजवं मारुततुल्यवेगं जितेन्द्रियं बुद्धिमतां वरिष्ठं वातात्मजं वानरयूथमुख्यं श्रीरामदूतं शिरसा नमामि। आञ्जनेयमदिपाठलाननं काञ्चनाद्रिकमनीयविग्रहं पारिजाततरुमूलवासिनं भावयामि पवमाननन्दनं यत्र यत्र रघुनाथकीर्तनं तत्र तत्र कृतमस्तकाञ्जलिं बाष्पवारि परिपूर्णलोचनं मारुतिं नमत राक्षसान्तकम्। A very good evening to the gathering here. In the series of lectures that have been scheduled at the Hindu Temple of Virginia here, this is day 2 and day 1 yesterday. Those of you who had the opportunity to attend would have listened to the Upakhyanam, the story, the history, the anecdotes that surmount the life of Garuda. Garuda is the celestial vehicle to the Lord, the ever-ready vehicle to the Lord, who has been mentioned in the Vedas, who has been mentioned in the Vedanta, which is the Upanishad. He has been mentioned in 2 major incidents, one in Balakandam and one in Yuddhakandam in Srimad Ramayanam, which is one of the Itihasas. He has been mentioned in the Adi Parva of Sri Mahabharata, which is the second of the Itihasas. He has been mentioned in Srimad Bhagavatam. especially in Krishnavataram and also other related stories like Gajendra Moksha, so on and so forth. We also see Garuda's importance in the temple festivals and in Agama Shastra. So yesterday the lecture of 2 hours 7 minutes dealt with this. Today, day 2, we are going to talk about Hanuman, who is yet another Vahanam, another vehicle to the Lord, but his role is not profoundly found in the Vedas and the Vedanta as what Garuda finds a position, but his role in Ramayana is too overwhelming, so Ramayana forms a central portion to it. Nevertheless, to begin the lecture with, we also need to see where Hanuman is positioned in Mahabharata. In Mahabharata, we have 5 important gems. Pancharatnam. Which are the Pancharatnam? Panchatantra is different. This is Pancharatnam. Pancharatnam, the 5 important gems that one can find in Mahabharata. 1 is Viduraniti. 2nd is Yaksha Prashnam. 3rd, Sanat Sujatiyam. 4th, Bhagavad Gita. 5th, Vishnu Sahasranamam. So these are the 5 gems that are found in Mahabharata. It is very important that we remember these 5 again. You can post questions to your children and grandchildren if they have remembered. The better part is to question yourself if you remember these 5. So Viduraniti, Yaksha Prashnam, Sanat Sujatiyam, Bhagavad Gita, Vishnu Sahasranama. In this, the last gem, which is Vishnu Sahasranama, is often recited and even memorized by people, and it is very popular. The reason is, it was recited by one of the devotees. So, Tattva-darshivihi, the one who has realized the ultimate truth, who is Bhishmacharya, Devavrata, is the one to have recited this. So, being recited by a devotee makes Vishnu Sahasranama very special. Above all, the 1,000 names that have been strung together are names that have been chosen and have been accredited by rishis themselves. Rishibhif parigitani tani vakshyami bhutaye. Rishibhif parigitani, accredited by the rishis. Vishnu Sahasranamam finds another layer of importance clinging to it. Whereas when we come to Bhagavad Gita, it was not recited by the devotee, it was recited by the Lord Himself. So, Bhagavad Gita is the song, Geetam. People who are utmost well-versed with basics of Carnatic music will know that as a student progresses in the South Indian classical Carnatic music, there is one stage called Geetam, where they are exposed to basic singing. So, Geetam in literally means singing. So, Gita means the song. So, Gita is the song sung by, there it is not mentioned as Krishna Gita. When he delivers Gita, he is Swayam Bhagavan. He is the Lord Himself. So, Bhagavan has sung a song. So, the song sung by the Lord is called Bhagavad Gita. Why is he called Bhagavan? Bhaga iti rinam. The word Bhagavan today has been associated with anybody and everybody. That's different. But as per the Shastras, Bhagavan has to be associated only with one. Bhagava. I'm giving the basics of Sanskrit. Don't worry, I may not bore you or irritate you with more basics. This is just to imply the importance of Bhagavan, which is an often used and abused word. So, Bhagava. Each letter here has 2 qualities. Bha has 2, Ga has 2, Va has 2. This is called one-to-one function in set theory. When you cling many to one, it is called many-to-one. When you have one-on-one mapping, it is called one-to-one in set theory. So, Bha stands for 2, Jnana Bala, which is a set. Bha, Ga stands for Jnana Bala Aishwarya Virya. Next comes the two gunas, Shakti and Tejas for Va. So Bha has two gunas, Ga has two gunas, Va has two gunas. Bha, Ga, Va has 2 plus 2 plus 2, which is 6. Jnana Bala, Aishwarya Virya, Shakti Tejas. Bha is associated with one Vyuhamurti, Aniruddha. Ga is associated with Pradyumna. Likewise, Va is associated with Sankarshana. So each of these Vyuhamurtis have two gunas. All put together is 6, which is present in the fourth Vyuhamurti called Vasudeva, who is Krishna, Vasudeva's son. So that is why in Sahasranamam you have got Aniruddho, Apratirataha, Pradyumnaha, Amidavikramaha to imply these gunas. So Bhagava 6 gunas. That means all good qualities are in the Lord. Generally it is a habit in this world. How is that person if somebody asks? The other person will say, he is good, very helpful, but the only thing is he gets angry. So whenever you have to describe a person, you always associate some bad quality also with that person. Even if you don't want to, there is something that ignites in you to tell something bad about that person. So if I have said Bhagava, talk about the good qualities of Lord, then comes the next question, are there any bad qualities? There is no bad qualities. To imply no, in Sanskrit you say na. So na when reversed becomes an. An when reversed becomes na. Na is no. No comes from na. Na's reverse is an. So Bhagava implies he has good qualities. An implies he has no bad qualities. Bhagava plus an becomes Bhagavan in Sanskrit. So the one who has got all good qualities and who is bereft of any bad qualities, which Andal beautifully describes. Kurai ondrum illada Govinda. No bad qualities. He has got all the good qualities. So the combination of the two is called Bhagavan. Since Krishna sung this, it is called Bhagavan's Gita, Bhagavad Gita. In Bhagavad Gita, when they describe the war field, they say that different types of conches were blown. Each conch had a name. In those days, names were given to objects, names were also given to animals, like how we do today. If you go to certain houses and ask, how is your dog? They will refuse to answer. Call her by their name. Her name is Maithili, they will say. So probably the dog has been blessed to have the name of Sita. That's different. Here, a name is associated with a conch. The Lord's conch is called Panchajanya. Likewise, each conch had a name. So when all the conches were blown, it was indicated that the Yuddha, the war, would begin. That time, Bhagavad Gita in the first chapter, Vyasa remarks, Saha Kapidhvajaha. When they remark of Arjuna's chariot, they say, it has the flag of the flag with the emblem of Kapihi. In Sanskrit, Ka is a letter. Kam is water. Not the Hindi kam. Kam, Hindi में कम बोलेंगे तो उसका अर्थ है कम है. It is less. Whereas ka with the dot above, kam means water. Ka with the 2 dots, aha, kaha means Brahma. So kam is water, kaha is Brahma. So there is only a small sound difference that separates Brahma and water. So if somebody says kam, you need to give them water. If somebody asks for kaha, Brahma has to come. So it is from the same letter ka. So kam pibati iti kapihi. Kam is water. That which drinks water is called kapihi. So sun is referred to as kapihi. 1. Kapihi also means elephant. That is why when the Lord rescued the elephant from the jaws of the crocodile, that place in Tamil Nadu is called as Kapisthalam. So Kapi also means elephant. 3rd, Kapi means the monkey. So Kapi Dhvajaha means Arjuna who had the flag with the emblem of a monkey. Who is that monkey? Hanuman. Why should he have Hanuman? Ramanujacharya remarks, because the Lord wanted Arjuna to emerge victorious, and to ensure victory, he wanted Arjuna to have the association of a supreme devotee. That is why he ensured that Hanuman was there on the flag. So even in Mahabharata, amongst the 5 Ratnas, one of which is Bhagavad Gita, Krishna ensures that the character from Ramayana is being pulled. Then Hanuman must find a very, very supreme position in our Shastras. So getting back to Ramayana, where do we begin? Ramayana is a beautiful, creative, very innovative picture which has been directed and produced by Valmiki. So a movie will always have an interval, pre-interval and post-interval. So the interval comes in Ramayana at Kishkinda Kandam, where Ram signs an MOU with Sugriva. The Memorandum of Understanding states that my wife is missing and your wife is missing. Let us help each other. When they go around the fire, which is the act of signing, that is when Valmiki cuts the interval to this movie. So whatever has happened before that, Balakandam, Ayodhya Kandam, Aranya Kandam, 3 cantos is pre-interval. Post the interval is Kishkinda Kandam, half portion, Sundara Kandam, Yuddha Kandam and Uttara Kandam. But being the Indians we are, we need every story and movie to end in a very good note. We need that Shubham. So we never ever go towards Uttara Kandam. We just stop with Rama Pattabhishekam. But Hanuman, who is a major character in this Itihasa, comes post-interval. But we need to understand what has happened before the interval. So I will just try to bring the essence till Ram meets Hanuman in a very succinct manner so that you can follow the story at its own pace. Ayanam in Sanskrit is the path taken. If somebody walks and there is a path taken, it is called Ayanam. And when you attach a word before it, like Uttara Ayanam, Uttarayanam, the path taken by the sun's rays in the northern hemisphere is Uttarayanam. Dakshinam Ayanam, Dakshinayanam. The path taken by the sun's rays in the southern hemisphere, in the southern direction is Dakshinayanam. The path Ram is called Ramayanam. So Ramayanam is the path taken by Ram. So Ramayana has been very well recorded and reported by Valmiki. Valmiki has not composed. If I have ever used that word, or even if I am going to use that word, I need to be corrected. Because composing is different. Somebody has told me what has happened. I imagine and I write. So that becomes indirect speech in English grammar. Whereas as a reporter in English news channel, what should I do? What you see behind is the war. Here I am reporting from the war field. So I ensure that my viewer is not led to assume that whatever I describe is not a figment of my imagination. What has happened is so described. So this is called reported speech. This is called direct speech. This is called direct speech. So this direct speech is what Valmiki tries to give. So whatever he has said is true, is what our Shastras state. So in Ramayana, Dasharatha Chakravarti had one daughter. Her name was Shanta. She was given in marriage, she was given in adoption to the neighboring king called Romapada, who adopted her. She was given in marriage to Rishyashringa. Now Modi says Beti Bachao, Beti Padhao. So he had a daughter, but she was given in adoption, later given in marriage. Now he wanted a son. Putraha in Sanskrit means the son. Pun Narakam Trayati Iti Putraha. The one who does not let his forefathers and fathers go to a hell, called as Pun, is called Putraha. So by the birth of the son, it is rest assured that they will not go to any hell. One person remarked in a lighter vein, because the father experiences all forms of hell when he exists, he doesn't have to go to a separate world called as a Punnarakam Trayati. So this Putraha is what this king wanted. In those days, to perform a yajnam, you need to be very, very vigilant. Especially in a yajnam, one cannot speak in any other language but Sanskrit as per the rules of a yajnam. So the moment I pick up my phone and say hello, there goes the phalan of my yajnam. So if we look into the rules of particular yajnam, it is very tough to perform. Second, we have very little patience in any yajnam. The moment somebody starts, we will ask, in 1.5 hours it will get over, right? Then we can eat, then we can heat it up. So, as much as I want to finish, even the person who wants to perform is also equally at that speed. So it is the same on both the sides. So in those days they used to perform a yajnam in the daytime from the sunrise till the sunset for one complete year. Samvatsareti, for one full year they performed a yajnam called as Ashwamedham. So this Ashwamedham was performed, and as a small supplementary part to that yajnam, a Ishti was performed. Ishti in Sanskrit is one type of a sacrifice. So when you desire a son, Kama Ishti, what do you want? Putra. So you want a Putra Kama Ishti, Putra Kama Ishti. That is why Narayana Bhattadri remarks in Narayaniyam, Girvanairathyamano Dashamukha Nidhanam Kosaleshvrishya Shunge Putriya Mishti Nishtva Darushu Dasharatha Kshma Prutopaya Sagryam Tadbhuktva Tatpuram Dhrishva Pitrishu Susamam Jata Garbha Sujato Ramasvam Lakshmanena Swayamatha Bharatena Vishatrughna Namna. He performed, and at the end of it, a Yajna Purusha arose. He gave payasam, which is kheer, in a golden pot with a silver lid, remarks Valmiki. So payasam did not come in just a vessel, it was a golden vessel with a silver lid. The commentator asks, why should Valmiki give irrelevant details? If somebody asks, when did you come? You should say 6:30. Why should you say, I took left there, I took right there and I came? The question is very simple. When did you come? Why should he describe the vessel? Because gold has the property to expel heat. Gold is aurum, AU. That is why we indicate in periodic table as AU. Whereas silver is argentum, which is AG. Silver has the property to retain heat. That is why in those days they used to have food on silver plates, because it can retain heat. Even if it takes 5 minutes for them to bring the sambar, the rice will still remain hot. So that is why they will have it on a silver plate. Whereas gold ornaments are worn because the body generates heat and gold absorbs and expels it. So gold has the property to expel, silver has the property to retain. The payasam needs to be fed to the queens who are very sensitive and comfort seeking. So you can never afford to give them a very hot payasam nor a cold payasam. Since it has to be in a lukewarm condition, it was a golden pot with a silver lid, says Valmiki. So this payasam was distributed amongst the principal wives, 3 in number. Dasharatha had 350 wives, that is different. As per Ramayana, he had 350 wives. Because when Sita was about to leave to the forest, she had to redress herself in the form of a hermitess. So when she dressed up, the 349 wives of Dasharatha claimed to have been cried, barring the 350th one, who is Kaikeyi, because she is the one who wanted her to go. Why would she cry? So barring her, 349 wives cried, but we know only of 3, and that is why even in contests that assure you to give you 1 crore in India, Kaun Banega Crorepati, they will ask questions of only the 3 wives, because the person who is framing knows only the 3, because he has not read Ramayana in its original version. He has read the abridged versions, Wikipedia article. So he cannot go by what truly the book states. So he had 350 wives. The principal were 3, who are Kaushalya, Kaikeyi and Sumitra. So these 3 wives were there. They were given payasam in the ratio of 50:25:12.5:12.5. Half of the payasam was given to Kaushalya. Though she was not the favorite wife of Dasharatha, legally she was the first wife. If she were not given the half portion, she could still file a suit. So she had to be given 50%. Next came 25% to Sumitra, the very philosophically mature Sumitra. Then came 12.5% to Kaikeyi. She was very diet conscious. Today, if you go to a dietitian, the person says don't have it in large proportion. Take little quantity, have it many times a day. So initially we used to have twice or thrice a day now. But now dietitians say you can have it about 7 to 8 times. That is why when I used to work in my office, I used to wonder at the women seated beside me who used to have layers and layers of tiffin box one above each other. Just with slices of tomato. But that's what the dietitian says. We follow the dietitian more than what Krishna says. That is the beauty of it. So this was given as 12.5 to Kaikeyi. What remained, 87.5 was distributed. What remained is another 12.5, which is called Payasopamam. Whatever remains in the sweet vessel at the end of it is the tastiest of the Lord. Generally, people who have an inclination to tasting food would always say that you will have to wait for the last morsel of food to come. So, this is Anuchintya Sumitrayai Punareva Mahamadihi. The very intelligent Dasharatha thought over once again and gave the remaining also to Sumitra. So, the 4 kids were born. Payas ke anusar le to prem badhte gayo. In Nepali, Bhanuvattacharya says this. So, the kids were born. They had to be christened on the day 12. Generally, in which day do we christen? Here it's a different thing. Even before the child is born, you have to be ready with the name. Going by the standard practice, when do you christen the child? 11th day. But Rama was christened on the 12th day. Why? Because for Kshatriyas, it is the 12th day. So, there are certain rules as per Dharma Shastram. It may be very tough to follow, tough to even understand, tough to even give a discourse about. For example, early in the morning, if there is a habit in certain people to draw a rangoli, a kolam outside the house, Shastram states that alone should be done without brushing the teeth. Everything else after that you have to brush. This is the only thing that needs to be performed without brushing the teeth. States Shastram, that's different. So Shastras have their own way of dealing with things. Let's not get into it because our adherence to it will be in the negative side, not even zero. So coming to the verses of Ramayana, the 4 children were born, they were christened Ramayati Ramaha. Very, very good to look at. See, one can be good to look at to himself. People have the habit of looking at the mirror. We may be good, but others should call us good, right? People should not have nightmares after looking at us. Whereas Ram was one such where people will always keep dreaming about him. So Ramayati Ramaha. Second, Bharataha Kainkarya Rajya Bharanar. He supported the kingdom of servitude to Ram. He was called Bharata. Lakshmanaha Lakshmi Sampannaha. He had the prosperity of serving Ram. So prosperity is again associated with servitude. 4. Shatrughnaha, the one who had won over the Shatru called Rama Bhakti and got into Bharata Bhakti. Shatrughnaha. So these are the 4 brothers who are celebrated and revered in Srimad Ramayana. At the age of 12, when Vishwamitra came and sought the help of Dasharatha, after a lot of persistence from Vasishta's side, he sends Ram along with Lakshman. Generally, if you ask for Ram in those days, you get Lakshman for free. You have this 1+1 offer in India. If you have 200 rupees Horlicks bottle, they will give you 1 rupee worth pen. There are so many people who will go fight for that 1 rupee pen and forget the 200 rupees bottle. They leave that and come. So if you buy Ram, you get Lakshman for free. The commentator asks why. He replies that when the body walks, will that ever leave its shadow and go? Ram was the body and his shadow was christened as Lakshmana. So they were inseparable. This is called Apritak Siddha Viseshanam in Sanskrit. Inseparable adjective from the substratum is called as substratum, substrata. This is how we deal with verbs, right? So this is called Apritak Siddha Viseshanam. So they walked to the forest. He killed Tataka. He killed Subahu. He drove away Maricha because they were all anti-social elements. Then he gave Ahalyo Uddharanam. He gave emancipation to the wife of Gautama called Ahalya. Thyagaraja remarks, Shri Rama Padamani Kripajalune Chitrani Kirave Dharini Shilagi Kapamutalaga. So this this is how he rescued, he gave emancipation to Gautama's wife Ahalya. Then he entered the city of Mithila. He took the bow of Shiva, handled it well and proved his valor. Thereby he was given Sita in return as marriage. In those days, a man, if he had to get married, he had to show his valor. He had to lift a bow, he had to lift a mountain. If that was the case today, most of them will remain bachelors. Thank God all those tests are not being committed. It stops with the salt analysis test. It doesn't come to the prospect sons-in-law. So, when we deal with Srimad Ramayanam, Ram was given in marriage to Sita. Sita had one sister called Urmila. She was given in marriage to Lakshmana. The Janaka, Siradhvaja had one younger brother who had two daughters, Mandavi, Shrutakirti. They were given in marriage to Bharata and Shatrughna respectively. Cost cutting, this is what is called. Same wedding, you do 4 marriages. You don't have to employ one separate contractor for every marriage. So same priest, he will run from one mandapam to the other and will charge. If you probably he had such offers, if you have 2-3 marriages, this is the discount that I offer. So Janaka was very intelligent. It was a very innovative marriage. So this was given. Then, as they went to Ayodhya, Ram was at the age of 12. He lived for another 12 years happily in Ayodhya. He was now 24, turning 25. That is when Kuni, Manthara, with a hunch, she is the servant maid, come caretaker, come guardian, come mother-like personality to Kaikeyi. Because Kaikeyi's mother was always busy in parties, so she had no time to take care of her own daughter. She had employed one lady, and this lady took care of Kaikeyi. Since she belonged to the region of KKA, KKA is currently Afghanistan and Pakistan. The great sage of Kanchi called as Kanchi Paramacharya used to state that KKA is also the region of Russia. So we don't know whether she belonged to Russia or Afghanistan, but the concept of a foreign daughter-in-law ruling the country India has been existing for long. So Manthara came over to Kaikeyi and said, it is high time that you ask the kingdom for your son. So she asked for 2 boons that she had put in fixed deposit before. Now it was about to mature with the interest. So she asked, Dasharatha fell, he swooned, he granted those 2 boons because it was a practice in his kingdom to always grant what people ask. So he granted. So Ram, who was scheduled to be the higher apparent, Yuvaraja, now wanted to go to the forest. He looked at Sita. Sita said, even I am going to come. Then they saw Lakshman. The population to go to the forest was increasing by 1. So Lakshmana said, see, I want to come, but I am not going to talk to you, Ram. I'll talk to my sister-in-law who is Sita. He asked, Madani, Sita, in Hindi you say Bhabhi, right? Hindi. Telugu lo em cheptaru? Adina. And Kannadadalli em heltare? ಅತ್ತಿಗೆ ಇಲ್ಲ ನನಗೆ ಒಂದು ಅಣ್ಣನ ಹೆಂಡತಿಗೆ ಏನು ಹೇಳ್ತಾರೆ ಮನ್ನಿ ಅದು ತಮಿಳ್ನ ಮನ್ನಿ some word okay there will be some word so that particular word because it is very important that I relate with the regional relationship because everybody in English is an auntie everybody is an uncle but in our country we have a difference between the wife of the uncle and the sister to the father. In English, both are aunties. But here that is atta and that is perima. There is a difference. So, here we had Lakshman talking to Sita. He asked Sita, do you know how to cook? She was very frank. She said, I don't know. So she said, I don't have the habit of buying cookbooks, listening to but Mallika Badrinath. I don't have that concept. So I don't know how to cook. So only if she knows to cook, she'll know how to wash utensils. So she said, I don't know to wash. I've got one particular yantram. If I keep everything inside it, that will give me hot vessels. Third, Whirlpool, washing machine. I don't know what is the brand here, IFB or whatever it is. So she said, I have got one washing machine. My father is Indian. I don't know to wash clothes. You put all clothes together in that washing machine. Correct. You put the kitchen cloth. You put the banian of that person. In many cases, the kitchen banian of the person will be the kitchen cloth. That's different. You put all of them together and you turn it around. That is why it goes around like Samudra Manthanam. At the end of it, there is also a yantram in your country where it dries also and gives. Like fryams, it will dry and give. So it is very important that people who have dhotis don't put inside it. So it will dry. So at the end of it, people who take those clothes will have a tough time. It will be like Mahabharata Yudham Dharma Kshetre Kurukshetre Samavedha Yurutsava Mamaka Pandavas Chaiva. So Lakshman said, you neither know to wash clothes, to wash utensils, nor cook. I will do all this for you. Aham sarvam karishyami. Sita looked towards Ram and said, don't leave him, bring him along. If somebody says, I will do everything for you, will you ever want to leave that person? So had you had that facility, you would have brought somebody from India who will wash every day, who will cook every day. So all three of them went to the forest. Agratah prayayau Ramaha Sita madhye sumadhyama prishtakastu dhanushpanihi lakshmanaha anujagamaha. They all went. And that is when they go to the hermitage of Guha in Shringibherapuram, Bharadwaja's hermitage, and then they go to Chitrakuta, which is on the banks of river Mandakini, follow through the Dandakaranyam, the forest, come down to Maharashtra on the banks of river Godavari at a place called Panchavati. That is when Shurpanaka, the widow's sister to Ravan, whose husband was very well killed by Ravan himself. So she comes in search. And when she spots, is Shurpanaka as per Ramayana what you have heard, a good woman or a not so good woman? As per the Ramayana you have heard. Don't be politically correct. What have you heard? Not so good. But the mystic Saint Alvar says Shurpanaka was good. Only her nose was bad. Because only through her nose she smelt where humans live. So it is her nose which pointed her towards adversity. So it's not her, it is her nose. Polla Mukinai Udaya Araki, says Alvar. She is not Polla Araki, not a bad demon. Bad nosed demon. So it's her nose which is bad. Some people will say he's good, his tongue is not good. So tongue is still different from the person, right? So if he stops talking, he'll still remain a good person. He can still manage to get a good certificate. Certain people, if they talk, they are good. Certain people, if they don't talk, they are good. So you had Shurpanaka intervening and she expressed to Ram her desire of marrying him. He said, I am already married. She said, I don't have a problem. He said, I have a problem. See, in this avataram, I have married only one. At least had you asked in the next avataram, Krishna made it a point not to reject anybody's application. So, in this avatara, I can marry only one and I have married so. You go and meet my brother. Lakshman said, see, I am already washing utensils. If you marry me, you should also jointly do that. So why do you want to marry me? So she spotted the reason being the beautiful thin-hipped Sita. Why should I call thin-hip? Because Samudrika Lakshana Shastram says the most beautiful of the ladies is called Padmini in Sanskrit. Padmini, Padmadandhini, Punyagandham, Suprasannam, Prasadabhimukhim, Prabham, Namami Chandra Vadanam, Chandram, Chandra Sahodari. Padmini as per Kama Shastra means the one who is most beautiful. For the most beautiful woman, there are many characteristics. The hip has to be a pseudo hip. From the far, it should look as if it doesn't exist. And if you get closer, it should feel as if it is just about there. It should not be the central piece of attraction. So it should look as if it doesn't exist. In chemistry, we call acetic acid reaction a pseudo reaction. So there should be a pseudo hip. So Sita was one such. She has got sumadhyama, she has got a very thin hip. So that is why in Shastras they state, whatever fits the neck should fit the hip. Uddiyanam, Telugulo Mekhala anta cheptaru kada. Mekhala, Uddiyanam. In Tamil Uddiyanam nullo, this Uddiyanam should fit the neck. Take the other way around, it should not be that way. Whatever fits the neck should fit the hip. Is it possible? We need at least 4 such devices to fit the hip. That is why when the Lord measured the worlds as Trivikrama, the constellation of stars initially remained a tiara to him. As he grew further, it became his necklace. As he grew further, it became his girdle. As he grew further, it became his anklet. Constellation of stars were a stain, but as he grew, it became. So whatever was a necklace became the girdle, to imply that his hip was as thin as his neck. So Sita goes, and Shurpanaka spots her and she's about to attack when Lakshmana attacks her nose, chops off her nose. She goes and complains to her brother Karadushana. Karadushana come in the number of 14,000. Ram single-handedly manages them. He kills 13,999 demons, barring one, who's called Akampana, who drapes himself with a sari and runs from the battlefield. To describe the beauty and valor of Ram, while Shurpanaka goes to describe the intricate beauty of Sita. So Ravana develops an infatuation for Sita. He seeks his uncle Maricha's help, who goes as a gem-studded golden deer in front of Sita. Sita asks for the deer. Ram runs behind the deer. Lakshmana runs behind Ram. Then comes Ravana in the form of an ascetic, a false sannyasi. So if you have to cheat and dupe people, this concept has always existed from those days. So you have to be very vigilant. So in this Kali Yuga, Vedanta Deshika states, going behind a guru who does miracles is never important. Many will say, I was in such a tough thing, suddenly this person opened his hand, he gave one thing and I was blessed. So he says that it is very wrong to go behind miracles. A guru, a sadacharya is a one who will always ensure that he imparts knowledge to his student. He will not do miracles. If you go to a good guru, the guru will say, I will teach you this and I'll teach you that. They'll never say, I'll close your hands, I'll give you something. The moment we go behind such gurus, in a few more days he will go inside. And we will be worried about when he will be out on bail. So all this is not required for a good acharya. So Ravana came, tried to dupe Sita. Sita was abducted by Ravan. She spots the wounded Jatayu because who tried to rescue, and then she continues her journey further till Lanka. That is when Ram and Lakshman come in search of Sita. They do not know where Sita is. They spot Jatayu, who tells she is further south. Then he goes to Shabari Ashramam, accepts the fruits given by her, goes to Kishkinda Rajyam, where is Vali's younger brother called Sugriva, who has been banished from the kingdom. So he starts his own party. SMK, Sugriva Munnetra Kazhagam. So he starts one party, and in that party are 4 other monkeys, Nala, Neela, Hanuman, and now we had one bear also called Jambavan. They are all there in that party. And Sugriva is now worried whether his brother would take all his might to annihilate him. So he is worried. And when he is worried, he looks from the cave of this Rishyamukha Parvatam to spot 2 hefty, very, very gym-bodied men, one dark and one fair, walking towards the mountain. He assumes that these men have been dispatched by his brother Vali and tells Hanuman, you go and check who they are. If you know that they are men for Vali, you give an indication from there, I will run. Generally in a lecture also people will sit behind and quietly they'll say, because if they have some engagement they'll say. They don't want to hurt the speaker. I won't take bad feelings of that. If you have work, you can always say. But if you don't have work, you can come early, sit through the entire lecture, bring 2 more. That is very important. So, Hanuman had to go. But Hanuman could not go the way he was. Who is Hanuman actually? We need to understand where Hanuman's Charitam starts. Indra's court had many damsels. Indra was a very big entertainment person. He let people dance and he'll keep watching. He's meant only for entertainment. So this Indra had Urvashi, Menaka, Tilottama, Ramba, all of them dancing. There was one 5th lady called Punjika Sthala. Punjika Sthala used to dance in the court of Indra, but she always had her eyes on the demigod called Vayu. So they developed a liking for each other and they came down to earth to a water theme park. They started splashing water on each other and inadvertently it splashed on the face of a rishi who was performing penance. He gave a curse. He uttered a curse stating that you will be born as a monkey for the pranks that you commit. In those days, if people would curse, it would happen. And if you would even bless, it would happen. Today, none of it happens. So that is why when people ask for blessings, I say don't ask. It should not happen the other way. I bless a person and it is acting like a curse because we are bereft of any penance. What tejas do we have? So we don't have any tejas at all. So he cursed, and this Punjika Sthala was born as Anjana Devi. She married the lion amongst monkeys. His name was Kesari, and this Kesari was married to Anjana and they wanted a child. and Vayu impregnated her, and she had a child, and as the child was born, they had to christen the child. To any mother, the child is very handsome or beautiful. So to her, this child was very beautiful. She could not have called him Hanuman. Literally, the mother cannot call him Hanuman because Hanu is the chin portion. Hanuman means the one with the fractured cheekbone. No mother will ever christen her child the one with the fractured cheekbone. Hanuman, the one with the fractured cheekbone. She will not want to christen him that way. Anjaneya could have not been the name. Anjana Sutta Anjaneya, even had I been born as a son of Anjana, I would be Anjaneya. What was the original name? The original name christened, given to the child was Sundara. That is why that Kandam itself is called Sundara Kandam. Sundare Sundari Sita, Sundare Sundari Katha, Sundare Sundari Lanka, Sundare Kimna Sundaram. Sundare Sundari Sita Akshata Marute Mukhad Shrutva Krishnaha Tathaivastu Saramaha Sadatam Dhruvi. May the message, the Sundara message carried by Sundara Hanuman from Sundara Rama to Sundari Sita, who was stationed in Sundara Lanka, described in Sundara Kandam, be beautifully bestowed and rested in me throughout, says the poet. So Hanuman was called Sundara. Sundara, since he was born as Vayu Putra, he had the innate ability to fly. His mother used to give him curd rice. Now you'll be wondering, can't he have chapati? Why should he have only curd rice? Purana states curd rice, I can't help it. So he was given curd rice. Some people in the Bombay region, if you give them a choice, ask them to either keep the receiver down or ask them somebody to sit beside it. So, as we see in Sundara Kandam, when Hanuman was given that name, Sundara, because he was beautiful, and in his childhood when he was fed with curd rice, he used to be given a mango along. Some people in Bombay, if you give a choice to them between mango and moksham, they will always choose mango because apus is so tasty. Because moksham is something that you may get at the end of your life, which you may not remember whether you will enjoy or not. They will say whatever is pratyakshan is more important than aparoksham. So they will always choose the mango. Mango has its own way to be enjoyed. So some people have the habit of taking the skin out in a very beautiful way. Bhuhu, Bhuvaha, Suvaha, Mahaha, Janaha, Tapaha, Satyam. And the juice from the ripened mango will drip in such a way that the mere look of it may put your HTVA ratings to 7.8 or 8, where you may have to take a double or a triple combination. You may even have to go with a pioglitazone or a sitagliptin. So it will be so strong. So mangoes are a favorite, and so it was a favorite to Hanuman as well. So when his mother was feeding him with curd rice, he was looking at the young sun rising. The young sun rising has a reddish hue mixed with a yellowish hue. So when he was looking at this particular sun, he thought this is the mango, and since he had the ability to fly, he flew towards it. Arkaha in Sanskrit is sun. That is why when the sun's rays fall at a certain angle, konam in Sanskrit means angle. When the sun's rays falls at a certain angle, it is called Kona Arkaha, Konarkaha. That is why in Orissa you have got a sun temple at Konark. Arkaha is sun. Bala Arkaha means young sun. That is why Annamacharya states, Hanuman is the one who flew towards the young sun. Bala Kabimbamu Palamani Patina Alari Chitala Hanumanta Tunari Brahma Dulache Maramulu Uliche Konina Hanumanta Gabudi Hanumanta Nismarana Mangavinchidini Hanumanta Mangabudi. Indra, who thought that sun who comes under his jurisdiction is going to be affected by this little child who looks like a flying demon. So he took the Vajrayudham and hit on Hanuman's chin. That is when it got fractured and the child fell unconscious. Vayu started moving. Vayu started moving to places where there was no need and stopped moving to places where there was a need. So all the demons came seeking refuge. Each demigod gave one boon to this child. Standing in the queue last was Surya, the sun god. He said, I have no boon to offer. So the mother said, see, I have been trying to admit my child in every possible Montessori, but he has been given transfer certificate for being very hyperactive. So I feel that you could be the best tutor. The sun god said, okay, admit him to my school. But the only problem is I keep moving around Meru Parvatam. I will keep running and my student has to run along. She said, don't worry, he will learn somehow or other. Imagine it is so tough. The teacher also runs and you also have to run. So you will be panting for breath and above it you will have to memorize what the teacher says. That's going to be a tough task. So they started running, and by running itself Hanuman was able to grasp the 9 types of grammar that is called as Navavyaakaranam. So since Hanuman was able to grasp the 9 forms of grammar, he is called Navavyakarana Panditaha. So Hanuman grasped this way. In return he asked for a Guru Dakshina. Sun God said, my Amsha is born as Sugriva, you need to be his minister and political advisor always. That is why when Sugriva was banished from the kingdom, Hanuman was there, and Hanuman was now dispatched by Sugriva to check who these 2 men were. So Hanuman, being the very well-read, well-spoken and well-versed person, but he is a monkey. You go to a zoo assuming that you're going to see creatures of lesser intellect than what we are. It's just an assumption. So when we go to the zoo, we stand in front of a cage holding the bars thinking to see a monkey. The monkey comes in front and cites a very beautiful verse. Tato yuddha parishrantam samare chintaya sthitam. Even we may not be able to pronounce this way as much as what the monkey does. We are closer to it anyways, morphologically, that's different. But still the monkey is able to do a better justice. That is when you will be surprised. So Hanuman did not want to throw this element of surprise to Ram. So what he did was he disguised himself as a Vedic scholar and went before Ram. As he went towards Ram, Valmiki describes that Hanuman got the first initial feeling of seeing someone very close to him. So he went towards Ram and said, Ayatascha suvrittascha bahavaha parigopamaha sarvabhushana bhusharhaha kimarthamna vibhushitaha. It's a beautiful verse in Sanskrit. Ayatascha suvrittascha. Cha in Sanskrit is and. Ayataha suvritaha cha. How beautifully he is dressed. Ram was not dressed well, but Hanuman says, Sarvabhushana Bhusharhaha. See, why do we adorn ourselves with ornaments? Because we want our beauty to be embellished. If our beauty is at a quotient of 0, we want to add that 1 to it and make it 1 by adorning ourselves with ornaments. But why is the Lord adorned with ornaments? To hide his beauty. Because if we had no ornaments, he will look so beautiful that people will cast evil eyes on him. So to cover that beauty, they cover him with ornaments. For us, it's the other way around. To look beautiful, we have ornaments. So when Kaikeyi sees the ornaments from Ram and now he was bereft of ornaments, Hanuman says, you having no ornaments is your ornament. Sarvabhushana bhusharhaha. So that is why Purandaradasa remarks, Bhushana ge bhushana idu bhushana seshadriva samar venkatesha bhushana ge bhushana idu bhushana. So Hanuman speaks saying that you have got lotus-like eyes, and he describes Ram in just 2 verses. Now listening to what Hanuman has said, Ram turns towards his younger brother Lakshman and says, Lakshmana, look at the way Hanuman spoke. Nandrigveda vinitasya nayajurveda dharinaha na samaveda vidushaha shakyam evam prabhashitum nunam vyakaranam kritsnam anena bahudha shrutam Bahuvyaharathanena na kinchit apashabditam avistaram asandigdham adhritam avilambitam urastam kanthakam vakyam vartate madhyamesware samskara kramasampanna udhritam avilambitam ucharayati kalyani vacham hridayaharini. He tells Lakshmana, look at the way Hanuman spoke. There was neither a slur anywhere. When we speak, it is very important that Ramayana teaches us about communication skills. When one is a public speaker, how should that person speak? There should not be a slur. What I would want to tell is not required. Avistaram. You should not talk in a very fast way. So that the other person can never understand and never question, right? You should never take that as an element. One. Second, you should not talk in a very slow way. Good evening. If I speak at this speed, when will I complete my speech? So it should not be at this speed pace as well. Avistaram asandigdham. It should not be at a very high pitch. And it should not be a combination of singing. You need to sing and speak. Or speak and sing. You should not do both. The Lord came here. Not required. All these pranks is not appreciated in eloquence. Next, you should look at everybody and talk. Some people, when they have stage fear, they will look at only one person. And that person, we will not even have the time to scratch his nose. So it's very important that you look at everybody and talk. And at the same time, you should not have your hands folded. You should use hands when necessary. But certain people, when they sing, they will dance more than what they sing. They could have been better chosen the other profession. It should not be that way also. And it should not be at a baritone. We don't have to meet Bali Chakravarti in Patala. It has to be Vartate Madhyamesware. It should be at a mid-pace. This may help even in company presentations. When you need to present a deck, a PPT deck, when you need to make a PowerPoint presentation, what it essentially means is the point that you make should be powerful. That is why it's called a PowerPoint, right? And when you're not able to deliver it well and you just let everybody watch the points, then you're not proving yourself to be a good speaker. Hanuman had no PPT. Hanuman had no points, but whatever he spoke was more effective enough for Ram himself to accredit his eloquence. So that is what is called Navavyakarana Panditaha. If one needs how to learn how to talk, they should learn from Hanuman. Now Hanuman spoke of this and he brought Ram and introduced Ram. This is Sugriva. Sugriva, this is Ram. So Ram said, my wife is missing, she has been abducted. Sugriva says, same pinch, even my wife has been abducted. Ram now feels in bad times you need to have a correlation with such useless people. So, but he couldn't open because in common minimum program you can never open your mouth. So they had a correlation and Vali was killed, Angada was made the heir apparent, Sugriva was made the king. He had 70,000 monkeys under his control. He made a north team, a south team, an east team, a west team. Generally in sales and marketing such teams are formed. So he said, let Jambava, Nala, Nila, Angada and Hanuman take head control of the southern team and go towards the south. So Hanuman was made the leader of that team. They went southwards. So they reached a mountain called Mahendragiri. Mahendragiri currently is called Tirukkurungudi. If you have heard of the company called TVS, T stands for Tirukkurungudi. That is a mountain in the Tirunelveli district of Tamil Nadu in South India in Asia. I have to give such a huge address to it. So in this Tirukkurungudi, it is one of the 108 Vaishnavite shrines, and there you have this mountain called Mahendragiri. They all were stationed there, but they were quite surprised that all their efforts went futile, for they couldn't spot Sita. That is when they start giving a vivid description of what all has happened till then. That is when Hanuman says, Ram was born to Dasharatha, he married Sita, they came to the forest, she was abducted, and on his way they spotted Jatayu, and Jatayu the vulture tried to help, whereas he was wounded by Ravan, and on his way Ram gave salvation to this Jatayu. And this description was overheard by another vulture called Sampadi, who was inside the cave of that mountain. This vulture peeped and said, why did you speak about my brother Jatayu? He's my brother, poor brother. Is he dead? Hanuman said, yes, he's dead, but he died in the service of Ram. Somebody says, I cannot fly, but I can spot people who are at a very far off distance. I can see Sita like lady seated under the shade of a Simshupa tree weeping. That is when Hanuman asks, what is the distance from this place till where you have seen? He says 100 yojanas. So immediately Jambavan the bear asks, is there a monkey that can fly 10 yojanas? One says yes, but that's not enough. 20, not enough. 50, not enough. 90, not enough. 100, yes. Who is it? The son of Vali called Angada said, I can fly. But he said, I wouldn't have the stamina to come back. So what is the use? So that is when Jambavan says, there is one person who can do it at ease, and that is Hanuman. Hanuman, you can do it. I know you have the ability. Probably you should remind yourself of the ability that is innate in you. That is when Hanuman realizes his own power. That is why they say for people who do not know their abilities, they should be reminded like how Hanuman was reminded too. So Hanuman grew in size. This is what Ramayanam states. And as he grew, the pressure of the rocks on the cliff and the boulder was so high that they pressed upon the sedimented sand below, and from the holes of the ground came the venomous snakes, and because of the pressure they emanated their teeth on the stone, and the stone cracked with the venom pouring outside. This is a vivid description that's given by Valmiki. If at all, by any chance, by mistake, you have an opportunity to read Valmiki Ramayana, do it. You will understand what is the pinnacle of literature, Sanskrit literature that India has to offer. When most countries did not exist 400 years ago, you go to any remote village in South India, the priest there will just take his poonal and say at a very casual way, this temple is 2500 years old. When I went to Melbourne for lectures, they took me around in the city and they said, look at this building. This is the oldest building we have, 50 years. Even my grandmother's house in India is 120 years. So, 100 and 200 and 400 in India is too minuscule to be even considered as history. So, we have got 5,000 and 10,000 and Treta Yugam where we have 432 and twice that as all that is beyond imagination and comparison and even believing. So, we have got years there. That is when we have Hanuman growing in size, and as he grew, the trees shook and the blue flowers that were brimming the branches of the tree fell upon the horripilated hair of his body, and he looked even more beautiful than what he looked before. And he propelled like a rocket, says Valmiki. He did not take off like a flight, he propelled like a rocket. When a rocket propels, there is a lot of fire and spark that is emanating from the bottom, and all the shrubs and herbs around the rocket are uprooted, fly to a certain extent and fall down. Like, says Valmiki, the host who goes 7 steps outside their house bid farewell to their guest and come. So whenever somebody comes to the house, you need to go outside and say bye. Some people have the habit, when you're going, close the door and go. This is not the way hospitality is meant to be. So Hanuman is the one who took off that way, and as he flew over the waters of the ocean, he saw a mountain arise called Mainakam. Mainakam said, why don't you stay and rest in my mountain for 3 days, 2 nights, 99 only. Whereas Hanuman said, my vision is to meet Sita, and on the way if I see such impediments that may hamper my process. So he hugged the mountain and he said that let this embrace be assumed by you as an act of me accepting your hospitality. He flies further. There he sees one Nagamata called Surasa who opens her mouth and says, see, I am very hungry. Hanuman says, if you are hungry, you should go to one of the outlets. Why are you telling me? She says, I am used to consuming flesh. Hanuman tells, see, even people who consume flesh choose other animals. Never does one person, given the worst of the choices, want to consume the flesh of a monkey. Panchapanchanaka Bhakshaha, monkey's flesh is not so popular. She says, I was initially in China, so I will consume monkey flesh as well. So she said, you need to get inside my mouth. Hanuman said, be vigilant about your words. I need to just get inside your mouth, right? She said yes. She opened her mouth and he grew in size. To match or be commensurate with his size, she opened her jaws further. He grew further. As he kept on growing, she too kept widening her mouth. It reached to such an extent that her upper jaw was so reaching the top that she could not look straight, but she looked top. At that point in time, Hanuman thought, why don't I take the size of a thumb, Angushtamatra Purushaha, and get inside her mouth and come. What was her rule? You have to get inside my mouth. She never said you should not get out of my mouth. So she came out taking a small size. That is why Tulsidas remarks, सूक्ष्म रूप धरि सियाहि दिखावा, विकट रूप धरि लंक जरावा, भीम रूप धरि असुर संहारे, रामचंद्र के काज सवारे, लाय सजीवन लखन जियाए, श्री रघुबीर हरषि उर लाए, रघुपति बहुत बड़ाई, तुम मम प्रिय भरत सम भाई, सहस बदन तुम रोजस गावे, हस कहि श्रीपति कंठ लगावे, सनकादिक ब्रह्मादि मुनीसा, नारद सारद सहित हरिसा, यम कुबेर दिगपाल जहाते, कोविद कहि सके कहाते, तुम उपकार सुग्रीव लीना, राम मिलाय राजपद दीना, राम लक्ष्मण जानकी, राम लक्ष्मण जानकी. And as he emerged out of her mouth, proving that his intellect can always come to his rescue at that need of hour, Surasa said, you have used your intellect very usefully. I have come to test your patience, your intellect and perseverance. Now I see that you have reached the certification stage. May you be blessed. And she vanished. As he flew further, he felt that somebody was pulling him from the down. It was a demoness called as Simhika who was trying to pull him using the shadow. She was called Chaya Grahi. Chaya is shadow. Grahanam is to pull. Chaya Grahi means the one who pulls by the shadow. So she gave him a knock. He had pain. So he thought, let me do tit for tat. And he gave her a knock by chanting the name of Ram. Saint Thyagaraja, about whom we will be talking tomorrow, he states that for a good, devout Ram's devotee, there are three important recognizable characteristics. One, when one gives a discourse of Ramayana in whichever language, the recipient should get goosebumps, it seems. If you don't get, don't worry, I am not doing my job well. So, one. Second, to be a Ram's devotee, you should have his name tattooed on your body. Two. Third, you should have a weapon in your hand. I am not going by any amendments of your country, but the arm that he says is Ram's name, which is the weapon. That is why Thyagaraja says, Romacha mane kanchukamo Rama bhaktudane mudra vilayu, Rama nama mane varakadami, Rama nama mane varakadami, Rajillu naya Thyagaraja ninte banduri Koduri Gavaya Rama Banduri Koduri Gavaya a knock to Simhika and she gets annihilated the very moment. So, the first obstacle came out of love. Hanuman won over that obstacle with love. Second came an obstacle where it was God sent to test his intellect. He won using the faith that he has in his intellect. Third was a real impediment, and he won over that impediment by having faith in his Lord. So these are the 3 steps that one may get in life. Some, when we start a new venture, the parents may say, why are you starting? They are not wanting us to fail, but they are worried. So that is a love impediment. We need to win over that using love. Second, there could be a test for your intellect, which you may have to win using your intellect. You should never lose faith on your intellect. Third, it could be a real impediment because of our Purva Janma Prarabdha Karma. That is when you need to rely and have faith in God. Some people will say, I have faith, but I also have faith on the other Lord as well. It is like electricity backup in our country. If there is electricity, there is UPS as well. If this goes, that will work. That will not work in Bhakti. If you surrender to the Lord's feet, He will protect you. He is like our mother and father. He knows what is to be done at what point in time. So it doesn't mean if I tell 2 people, if one forgets, the other one will remember. It is the same one who will always protect. So unnecessarily complicating one's life, because some have the habit, blue color blouse for this particular Navagraha with this particular lamp on this particular day. 9 grahas are subservient to the Lord. It seems in Tirupati, in the midnight the Lord sleeps. He is the most hardworking professional in this world because he has an EMI to pay to Kubera every month. So he has got a loan that he has taken for his marriage. His marriage would have been of a great grandeur. So he has taken loan those days and he is still repaying it. Very hardworking. In the night, midnight he sleeps. 1 o'clock he wakes up, just 1 hour of sleep. And in that 1 hour, the composer says, who are all the people who are falling at the feet of the Lord? Suryendu Vauma Udhavak Padikavya Shauri Svarbhanu Ketu Divishat Parishat Pradana Tvarda Sada Sadarama Vadida Sadasa Shri Venkata Chalapade Tava Suprabhatam. All the 9 grahas surrendered to his feet. Vasudevacharya remarks, they are all the watchmen for Ram. Ravi Sashi Kuja Buddha Guru Shukra Shanischara Rahu Ketu Netaram Rajakumaram Ramam Pavanajatam Avanijamano Karam Bhajare Premanasa. So all the 9 planets, that is why Dasa remarks, Sakala Graha Balanine Sarasijaksha Grahabala Nemi, says Thyagaraja. So life should be uncomplicated, and it is in our hands how to make it uncomplicated. If we make 1 day for this, 1 day for that, then we are getting confused. It is the same one who protects for all the days. So it is very important that we realize this. We may have grown in immaturity, but the moment we are exposed to quintessential knowledge, we don't have to coax ourselves to remain in the realm of innocence and ignorance. We can try to get out of that immaturity and try to be more mature and seasoned. It is in our hands how we take such progressive steps. Nevertheless, getting back to the point, then Hanuman crosses all these 3 steps and then he reaches Lanka at the start of the night. That is when he is stopped by Sri Lanka's immigration officer. Her name is Lankini. So she says, where is your passport? Where is your visa? He said, I thought visa is on arrival. So I came. She gave a knock on his head. He has been receiving knocks one after the other by being Ram's devotee. Look at him. So then he gives a knock back to her. Then she remembers what she has forgotten. Certain people have this habit. If they have to remember, they will hit on their own head. In certain houses, even the computer monitors, televisions, mixer, what you call Vitamix or Ninja, all that will work with the beat. So this lady, she thought of what she had forgotten. It seems she was cursed to be a Yakshini, and now Brahma said you will get emancipation only when you are hit by an extraordinary monkey. Says Kamban in Kambaramayana. So she goes back. Now Lanka is left with no immigration officer. Only today they have been appointed. So then she goes. And he goes inside Lanka looking at the beautifully gem-studded golden fortress which was once constructed by the stepbrother to Ravana called Kubera. Kubera is called the son of Vaishravas. They are stepbrothers. Rajari Rajaya Pradahya Sahinehe Namo Vayam Vai Ishravanaya Durmahe Vaishravana. Vaishravana comes from the Vishravas clan. So Hanuman goes in search, hunting for Sita. He goes house after house, then reaches Ravana's palace and Ravana's harem. He sees Ravana seated on the bed. Next to him is a beautiful lady. He thinks that lady to be Sita, starts kissing his tail for having spotted her. Aspotayamasa chuchumba pucham nananda chikrida jagau jagama stambana roham nigpada bhumo nidarshayam swam prakritim kapina. He exhibited the true nature of a monkey when it gets excited. That is why they say humans have to be more seasoned. The moment when we hear a happy news, when we jump, we are getting back to our previous avatar. So, Hanuman now thought, how can the chaseful Sita be sleeping next to Ravan? This must not be Sita. He goes inside Ravana's kitchen. It is written Ravana's kitchen. He goes inside. He finds loads of meat cooked, says Valmiki. Vanaranam, Mahishanam, Mayuranam cha bhagashaha. The meat of the pig, buffaloes and peacocks were cooked. Don't ask me what is the menu and all that. This is what Valmiki states. So now he sees if Sita is there, he is not able to spot. He jumps tree after tree with no result. Then he thinks Sita is not here. But if I go and tell that Sita is not there, Ram will die. If Ram dies, Lakshman will die. Both of them die. Sugriva will die. If Sugriva dies, Jambavan will die. These two die. Monkeys will die. If they die, the three mothers will die. Three mothers die. Bharata will die. Bharata dies. Shatrugna will die. The citizens of Ayodhya will die. So my single news of telling that I was not able to spot Sita is going to bring ruin to so many people. So let me search again. So searching again is called researching. That is why if somebody says I am doing a research, so he means to say that he is searching what others could not find. So that is very important. So Hanuman also did a research. It is called Punah Punaha. Alodhya Sarvashastrani Vicharyascha Punaha Punaha Idam Yekam Sunishpannam Dheyaha Narayana Sada is the shloka that we culminate Shri Vishnu Sahasranamam with. So he started searching. Then he remembered that he had not paid obeisances to the holy feet of Sita before he searched. So he says, Namostu tasye janakatmajaye. I salute the holy feet of the daughter of Janaka. He states, Ma Janaki cheta pettaga Ma Janaki Ikshirabhi Kanyakakushri Mahalakshmi Kini Niraja Layamunaku Nirajanam Jalajakshimo Unaku Jakavakujo Ulaku Nelakunna He was thinking of Sita on the top of Simshupa Vriksham. He opened his eyes and looked down and he found Sita. She was looking at one direction and he looks through and checks whom is she looking at. Ekastha Hridayanunam Rameva Anupashyati. She was looking at presumably a direction where Ram would be seated. Before Hanuman had left in search of Sita, Ram chose Hanuman not because Hanuman could fly, because had Ram's modram, which is mudrika, ring, come to my hands, even I could have flown. But the thing was, why was this ring given? The ring was given because Hanuman thought from the bottomest of his heart, that Ram, despite having been separated from Sita, is still crying. Like his father Dasharatha, he could have very well married somebody else and settled. Why should he cry over Sita's abduction? This was Hanuman's thought. He did not express it. But all his thoughts were expressed on his face. So Ram thought, it is this Hanuman who must go and see Sita. So he gave his ring. And the moment he saw Sita, now Hanuman's thought has changed. He says, after having been separated from this Sita, if Ram still lives, then he must be a hard-hearted person. Dushrutam kritavan Ramaha hinoya danaya prabhu dharayat yatmano deham nashoke navasidati. He looks at Sita, and that is when Ravan comes. And Sita, to express her anguish, she takes a blade of grass and keeps in between, says Valmiki. Trinam antarataha kritva pratyuvacha suchishmita. Why did she keep the blade of grass? A commentator cites 15 to 25 reasons for it. One reason, because in those days, if a learned person comes, you need to offer him with a seat. If you don't have a seat, you can keep a blade of grass which is equal to a seat. Trinam antarata krutva. Second, if I don't like a person but I am still forced to talk to the person, I can draw a curtain in between. If I don't have a curtain, I can keep a blade of grass. Trinam antarata krutva. If you keep advising a person and the person ceases to listen to you, he is equivalent to a cow which can feed only on grass. So she kept a blade of grass to indicate that you are fit only to eat this. She said that when the devout Prahlada exclaimed to his father that my Lord exists in the pillar and in the blade of grass, the Lord, to prove to the words of his devotee, emerged out of the pillar, and he did not emerge from the blade of grass, and today he may emerge from the blade of grass because that day he was Narasimham and today he is Raghava Simham. So she kept this blade of grass. Ravana said, you need to be my consort in another 1.5 years, 1.5 months, else you will be my breakfast for the next day. And he tells all the demonesses there to threaten her as much as possible. Each one had an eye in the stomach, one had 2 noses, Eka Akshim, Eka Karani. There are beautiful shlokas in Sundarakanda that describe what is the external features of the Rakshasis. So one had a soda bottle, the other had a cycle chain, one had a blade. This is how rowdies in India are generally characterized. So all of them, they tried to threaten Sita. Sita was unmoved, unfazed. That is when Trijata, the leader of all those demonesses, that entire cutting Ravi, soda bottle shaker, and blade Kabali. But now Kabali has got a different connotation, that's different. But, so all of them they threaten, and then Sita, Trijata comes and tells, don't threaten her because I dreamt of Ram being seated with her on a golden throne and flying towards the fresh rays of the new horizon. I saw Lakshmana doing the fanning service to them, whereas I saw our very own king Ravana, who was nude, smeared in oil, seated on a donkey, going in the southern direction to indicate that he will face destruction and adversity. So it is high time we seek refuge at her feet if we want to save our lives, says Trijata, who is a daughter to the good Vibhishana. Why I am saying good Vibhishana? We calling Vibhishana good is not important. Shurpanaka, when she describes to Ram, she says, Vibhishanastu dharmatma. You know Ram, we are very saddened in our clan because there is one good man called as Vibhishana in our clan. How can there be good man in our clan? So Vibhishanastu dharmatma. So Vibhishana's daughter Trijata tells, and all of them go to sleep. Sita is now perplexed, for she sees no ray of hope. She has long hair. If people who are here have grandkids, they may remember a story called Rapunzel, where she has a long hair. So that braid of hair is tied to her neck and she is about to hang herself on the branch of the Simshupa Vriksham. Hanuman is seated above. He wants to tell her that I have flown all this distance to meet you and you are committing suicide. But the moment he starts speaking Sanskrit, she will die of mild attack because a monkey is speaking Sanskrit. So how will he be able to convince her? So now he starts singing Ram's praises. Saguna Brahma Parapara Kalatmaka Parameshwara Ram Seshatalpa Sukhanirvrita Ram Brahmadyamara Prathita Ram Chandra Kirana Kula Mandana Ram Shri
Srimad Dasharathanandana Ram, Kausalya Sukhavardhana Ram, Vishwamitra Priyadhana Ram, Ghora Tataka Ghataka Ram, Marichadri Pataka Ram, Kaushika Makha Samrakshaka Ram, Srimad Ahalyodharaka Ram, Gautama Muni Sampujita Ram, Sura Muni Varagana Samstuta Ram, Navika Dhavita Mrudupada Ram, Mithilapura Jana Mohaka Ram, Videha Manasa Ranjaka Ram, Triambaka Karmuka Bhanjaka Ram, Siddharpita Varamalika Ram, Kritavaivahika Kautuka Ram, Bhagavadarpa Vinashaka Ram, Srimad Ayodhya Palaka Ram, Rama Rama Jaya Raja Ram, Jaya Sita Ram, Rama Rama Jaya Raja Ram. He tells what all has transpired in Ram's life before and after marriage and till date. So Sita is now in the middle of the night. She is hearing 93.4 FM because the Ramayana FM was prohibited in Lanka, banned in Lanka. Where did she hear? But she was not vigilant about the entire story, for she knew who's in Tamil. There is a saying, people who can speak Tamil can understand. Tirunelveli ke Alvava, Tirupati ke. For Sita itself, why should you tell Ramayana again? She knows the story well. She is a part of it. But what she did not know is what Hanuman laid stress. He said, in search of Sita came Ram. In the due course, he gave salvation to Jatayu. He saw the salvation of Shabari. He made friendship with Sugriva. He killed Vali, Sugriva dispatched monkeys, of which there is a southern team in which there was Hanuman, who is the son of Kesari, who is the son of Anjana, who is called Hanuman, who flew from India to Sri Lanka, searched Sita, palace after palace, forest after forest, garden after garden. Finally he came to Ashoka Vanika, sat on the Simshupa Vriksham. From the top he is now looking at Sita, who is just now going to look up, and she looked up. So this is the way he narrates. And now Sita, she sees, and he jumps down and says, Mata, I am the messenger of Rama. So she says, is Ram's name so important? He says, yes Mata, that is the Taraka Mantram. Taraka Mantramu Kovina Durikenu Dhanyudanai Vinigoramana. This is the Taraka Mantram. Rama Mantra Vajapiso He Manuja Rama Mantra Vajapiso He Manuja Rama Mantra Vajapiso Rama Nama Payasake Krishna Nama Vasakare Aparama Bhakti Yanto This Ramanamam is what I have learned, says Hanuman. Sita says, can you describe Ram's beauty? She is doing an Aadhaar test. Because initially she did not do with Ram, and that is why she had to face all this turmoil. Now she is asking. That time Hanuman says, if I were to describe Ram's eyes like the lotus, the lilies are coming and fighting with me. So what do I describe Ram's beauty? His beauty is matchless. And I find no words in the dictionary that I have memorized to aptly describe him. And whatever I choose to describe will remain a worthless bauble, he states. And Sita says, this is the right answer. You can never describe Ram's beauty. That is when she says, but how do I believe that you have come from Ram? That is when he gives the ring of Ram to Sita. That is when Valmiki remarks, Grihitva prekshamana sa bhartukkara vibhushanam bhartaram iva samprapta janaki mudita bhavat. The commentator states, if before Sita there was an option to choose Ram and Ram's ring, she will choose Ram's ring than Ram. Why? Because this is the ring that was gifted to Ram by her father. So she ensured that whatever property came to him was left by him. He abandoned. At least he still owns the ring that was given by her father. He made with no making charges in those days for Adimasa. So somehow he gave that ring. The second reason is the commentator gives an anecdote. Once when Sita and Ram were in the forest on the banks of river Godavari, they were playing dice. Dice is called Akshasara Pracharam. So they were playing. At one point in time, Ram was about to lose and Sita win. So Ram never likes to lose. So he did some act wherein he had to move the table here and there, and by mistake he had to scratch the tilakam of Sita. Sita was a very sentimental lady. She will take care of all these things. So she did not like this act of Ram and she stopped speaking with Ram for 3 days. Ram thought for such small things if she fights, so he also stopped talking for 3 days. Lakshmana was caught in between as a messenger. He, first of all, himself doing so many daily work itself is an excess. And he had to do one additional job of being the messenger. He thought, let me not get in between the two, and he left to the forest to pick up the woods. That is when Ram could not resist from not talking to Sita. He takes the ring that was gifted to him by her father, puts it in the sands of Godavari and says, my ring is missing. If somebody is there, they can find it out. There's nobody, there's only Sita there. So she spots, she's now worried, oh, that the ring is being given by my father. So she spots that ring and gives that back to Ram. So that day when Ram and Sita did not speak, it was the ring that united. Today when they are still separated, it is the same ring that unites. So she was very sentimental about that ring. Now Hanuman says, Mata, you give me something in return. I have to go and give him, right? She gives the gem-studded hair clip. That's called Chudamani. If you go to Ponti Bazaar in Chennai, you will get such clips. And whenever you look at those clips, you will be reminded of Gajendra Moksha, because the crocodile's jaws which held the foot of the elephant is also like that only. So Grihitva Gajendra Raksha Tvaritam Bhavantam Grakhe Vivave Ninamat Koigai Namar Koivan says Alva. So this Chudamani was given to Hanuman. Hanuman accepts it with all respects. And he says, Mata, you sit behind me. I will die. You sit. I will directly take you. Immediate flight service. Why should you wait for Ram to come? She said, no, I will not do that. Suppose I come behind you and few demons spot me coming. They will come running behind, and where will you keep me and fight? It is all ocean. There is no Kachativi also to fight. So where will you keep me and fight? So Hanuman said, don't worry, I fly very fast. I can take care of you. She said, no, what will others think? They will all take photos of it and say that Sita is going behind some other man. So I will not do it. Sita said, Hanuman said, this is wrong, mother. You are like my mother and I am your son. In Chennai, Westmambalam, so many mothers go behind the mothers in the scooty, sons in the scooty. So what? I will come behind you. Nothing will happen. You come. She said, nothing doing, Hanuman. Because tomorrow, when somebody narrates Ramayana, they'll state, Sita was abducted by one demon called Ravan from India to Sri Lanka. And she was brought back by one monkey called Hanuman from this side to that side. Where is Ram here? Poor Ram is just a mute spectator. So then nobody will choose Ramayana. Today I should have chosen some other topic had it not been the other case. So she said, if people have to make a good story out of me, then he has to come rescue me. That will prove he is a good husband. So let him come. Go and inform him this. So Hanuman said, I'm very hungry. You do whatever you want. So he ran plantation after plantation.
he ruined them. That is when Aksha Kumara, the son of Ravan, comes, he is being killed. Aksha Hantaram. So then Indrajit comes. Indrajit uses the Brahmastra, the most powerful missile, on Hanuman. Hanuman will not be deterred by Brahmastra because Brahma has given him a boon that Brahmastra will not do anything. But Hanuman wanted to ensure that he gives respect to the senior citizen Brahma. Brahma is a senior citizen, you know that, right? In any drama you take, Brahma will only have white beard. I don't know why. Whereas Vishnu will be very young, 16 years, ever young. Whereas Brahma alone will have. Any drama artist also, they'll say, if you go to any drama company in Chennai and you say, I want Brahma's dress, they'll give you 4 crowns and they will also give you one white beard. So Brahma must be a senior citizen. As per our Sankalpam also, he is senior citizen. See, for us 30 days make 1 month. Typically, don't forget the 31, 28, 29 and all that. That is because of Augustus and Caesar and all that who made that confusion. 30 days make a month. 360 days make a year. 4,32,000 years make Kali Yugam. Twice that is Dwaparam. Thrice is Treta, 4 times is Krita. Krita, Treta, Dwapara, Kali, 4 plus 3 plus 2 plus 1 which is 10. 10 into 4,32,000 which is 43 lakhs. 20,000 years is 1 Chaturyugam. Thousands such Chaturyugams constitute daytime for Brahma. Thousands such Chaturyugams constitute the night time for Brahma. 2,000 such Chaturyugams is 1 complete day for Brahma. Likewise, 360 days constitute 1 year for him. Likewise, 100 years gives him 1 lifetime. So this Brahma will appear. After 100 years, the next Brahma will come. So in the entire span of 100 years, the first 50 and second 50 is distributed. The second 50 is called Dvitiya Pararthe, the second half. That is why when we do Sankalpam, if we have time to listen to it, and if the person who chants for us also has the same time to tell it, and if by mistake we remember what we have heard today, then we will be able to relish and enjoy what we are actually performing. Otherwise, any ritual will become worthless if we do not know why we are doing and what we are doing. So, Adya Brahmanaha, in the current Brahmas, Dvitiya Pararthe, the second 50, in those 1,000 Chaturyugas, we are in the 7th Manvantaram, which is ruled by sun. Sun is called Vivaswan, Vaivaswata Manvantare. In that we are in the 28th Chaturyugam, Ashtavimshatikame. In that we have Kali Yuge. In that Kali Yugam, 4,32,000 years, we are in the first quarter. Padam. In Chennai, if I tell quarter, they will laugh. That's different. Prathame Pade, 1,08,000 years is the first quarter. Prathame Pade. In that, in India, we will say Jambu Dvipe, Bharatavarshe, Bharatakande. Here you will say some other Dvipe. Whatever it is, there are some common elements. So Brahma is a senior citizen and Hanuman acted as if he succumbed to this age pressure. So Brahmastra tied Hanuman in a very simple way. If people who go to thread ceremonies, Upanayanam, there is a ritual to give Pon Poonal and Velli Poonal, gold and silver. But with the current prices, if those gold and silver threads will be so thin that for a person who looks from a far off distance, he can't see. If you get closer, probably if your eyes work well, you may be able to spot a thin ray of that Poonal. So likewise, Brahmastra tried in such a thin way, and he was taken before Ravan, and Ravan said, we need to kill him. That is when Vibhishana intervenes and says, we cannot kill a messenger, we can insult him. So they take his tail, because to a monkey, the tail is the most prestigious part. But in our houses, if the child is naughty, they'll say, Bali. But for the monkey, Bali is the most prestigious part. It is like one Cannes festival, a Cannes festival, a Cannes festival, a award. So this tail was tied with lots of clothes were tied around the tail. It was dipped in GKP ghee. What ghee you get here? Some ghee. Hatsan. So you have got some ghee? You get ghee here? Yeah. So in that ghee they dipped. So in that ghee they dipped and they lit fire to Hanuman's tail. Hanuman's mother had taught, whatever you get, you have to share it with others. So he started burning whatever he saw, but he left houses which had young girls, women, helpless old people, pregnant women and good people. So he burned the rest of the places. When Ravana opened his balcony door, French doors, he was able to find the entire Lanka in the night also glistening by the day. It was like daytime. So Hanuman flew. That is when he realizes what a stupid act have I committed. It is the same Lanka where my mother Sita lives. What should have happened to her? He is worried. That is when he spots a clan of Charanas going that side, and they say, it is so surprising that Hanuman has burnt Lanka, except the Simshuka Vriksham where Sita is, everything else is burning. So he was rest assured that Sita was happy. On the other side, the demonesses went and complained to Sita, that monkey, that mischievous monkey which came and met you, his tail has been burnt. Sita now thought, he has come to rescue me and help me, and he is now in agony. Yedi me pativrata nari, if I have ever been a chasteful wife, shito bhava hanumataha, let his tail be cooled. So he immediately felt the Volta's AC effect. Then Sita thought, and now he flew back. So we have got 5 elements called Panchabhutam. Akashat Vayuhu, Vayor Agnihi, Agner Apaha, Adhyaf Prithvi, Prithvyam Voshadhayaha. 5 elements. Akasham. Akasham is space. Akasham is not Akasham. Akasham is space. All this is space. Air has pervaded that space. So Akashat Vayu. Vayu is air, wind. Vayu Agni. Agni is fire. Agner Apaha, water. Adhyaf Prithvi, which is sand, earth. So these are the 5 elements that they speak of. Here, what do we have? Hanuman, who is the son of Vayu, air, flew over ocean, which is water, using space as the medium, Akasham as the medium, to meet Sita, who is the daughter of Mother Earth, and lit fire in Lanka. So you have got the 5 elements in one character. That is why Kamban says, Anjile ondru vetran, Anjile ondrai tavi, Anjile ondrai araga aaruvirkaga egi, Anjile ondru pecha anangai kandu ayalar uril, Anjile ondru vaithan avan yammai alithu kaappan. This is a beautiful verse by Kamban. So Hanuman flies. Here the monkeys were worried whether Hanuman is going to come, whether he has seen Sita. That is when they hear one thunderous sound of Hanuman giving it from the sky. They have not seen Hanuman, they hear his sound. That time Jambavan says, all the monkeys, listen, Hanuman has seen Sita. Monkeys were confused. He did not even come, he did not even tell. How did you know that he has seen Sita? With the tone and tenor in which he has shouted. If the son appears for the exam and comes inside the house, Amma, pass. Amma. Then you have to pay the examination fees again. He is not cleared. So when Hanuman said, that means he has seen. So then Hanuman comes, all the monkeys were equally happy. They felt each of them had seen Sita. They did not think Hanuman had seen. Each of the 70,000 monkeys thought that they had seen Sita. So Hanuman intelligently took them to a vineyard. Sugriva had bought one property for investment. He had developed that as vineyard and kept his uncle as a caretaker. So in that vineyard there were fermented grapes. Whenever we come across the duty-free shops, the airports, I will be so surprised. Even it will be everywhere that even a person who does not want to drink will be forced to. So that is why Krishna says, Vasana, Karma, Ruchi, Prakriti Sambandham. Senses are so non-predictable that you can always be succumbed to pressure. So these fermented grapes were kept for them, and these monkeys started consuming. Gayanti ke chita pranamanti ke chita. And when the Dadhimuka, the caretaker, came to stop them, they started biting him. Over this, Dadhimuka went to Sugriva, who was in Bellari, Karnataka, Kishkinda Rajyam, to go and complain. Look at what those monkeys have done, Sugriva. Sugriva, who was seated beside Ram, looking at his uncle's bad state, looks at Ram and tells, Hanuman has seen Sita. How did he know? Because he feels that Hanuman will not party without a reason. There should be a reason to party. So, why did Hanuman take? See, Ram was so confused whether Hanuman has seen. Hanuman should have directly flown here. He should have taken a different route, come here and said that I've seen Sita. Why did he have to tell the monkeys, take the monkeys to the fermented vineyard, then bring them here? Because had he brought the monkeys directly here, out of excitement, each monkey would have patted Ram at the back. And 70,000 pats is too much for Ram's gym body to bear. So, to protect Ram's back, Hanuman thought we need to give an intellectual speed breaker to their enjoyment, and he took them to the vineyard and brought them here. And Hanuman has to tell that I've seen Sita. You ask certain people, you went to Tirupati? You had good darshan? They should say yes or no. They'll say, no sir, what happened was we took idlis from our house. We packed it well. We had gunpowder, pudi along with it. And then we made chutney. And we took it in a plastic cover. And we went, lots of traffic. We went to Renigunda, Alipiri, and then Sriman Makinamagi, Mahimandala, Dharani, Dharamandala, Kandalasya. We went about again. Then we took a cottage, then in the morning we got up. All this is not required. He will still tell, because when you give a mic to certain people, they will always want to talk. They will not know how to stop. So, you may be looking at me now. I'll stop in another 10 minutes, don't worry. So, Hanuman, then they'll say we went to cage after cage. In Tirupati you got cages. Bhuhu, Bhuvaha, Suvaha, Maha, Janaha, Tapaha, Satyam. Finally you will cross that bridge, go alongside the wall, then there will be cold waters that wash your feet under the Gopuram. Then you will see the Ranga Gopuram, then you will see the Dwajastambam, then you will see the Varadaraja Sanadi, then you will see the Garuda, then you will see the Dwarapalakas. And then I went in front of the Lord. You will be waiting for what he is going to about to say. They say that then I went and closed my eyes. So this is the ultimate effect of having described all this long and be patiently having waited. So what is relevant needs to be conveyed. Hanuman had to come and tell, I've seen Sita. He says, Drishta Sita. He doesn't say Sita Drishta. He says, saw Sita. Why did he put the verb first and the noun later? Because in English, if you have been asked to spot 10 nouns, you should spot Sita, you should spot Geeta, you should spot Lata, you should spot Saumya. 4 women have to spot. But I am able to see only one. Then I'll say, Sita, only I saw. That means I am giving stress to the noun. But here the only person meant to be searched was Sita. So there is no use telling Sita first. Seeing is more important than Sita there. So Drishta Sita, that is where Arunachala Kavi remarks, Panikala Vari Jampole Niram Kushi Pagaloru Yugamaga Kaditale Prayasi Nilatange Ravana Annalvara Chi Chi Nillada Yesi Tanidu Than Uir Tannai Tanvida Magarasi Sarum Bode Karnum Samayami Devasi Itamadam Shayan Agaram Dida Pesi Rama 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 Yendre Pesi Kanden 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 Sidaye Kanden Raghava Na Kanden. The time Hanuman tells Ram, by being a single helpless lady there, Sita is able to let live so many clans. By being a helpless lady there and living respectfully, there she has brought pride to the clan in which she was born, which is Janakakulam. By living there as a chaste daughter-in-law, she brings pride to the clan in which her husband has come, to you. By being there, she is coaxing you to come over to Lanka and win over the demons, thereby giving peace and prosperity to the Devas, the Celestials, thereby bringing pride to the clan of Devas. So she brings pride to her father's clan, to
to her father-in-law's clan, to the celestial clan. But that's not great Rama. In fact, Ram, she has given me the quality of monkey clan again. என் குலம் எனக்கு தந்தாள் எண்ணினி செய்வது எம்மோய் உன் குலம் உன்னதாக்கி உயர்ப்புகளுக்கு ஒருத்தியாய தன் குலம் தன்னதாக்கி தன்னை இத்தன்மை செய்தான் வன்குலம் கூற்றுக்கு ஈந்து வானவர் குலத்தை வாழ்வித்து என் குலம் எனக்கு தந்தாள் எண்ணினி செய்வது எம்மோய். Tamil is a very beautiful language. For those of you who cannot understand Tamil, in India, Sanskrit is the mother for most languages except Tamil. Tamil is the only one whose grammar and words are very different from Sanskrit. If you speak Prachinamaina Telugulo, at least 70% shabdalu Sanskritamlo unnai. Correct? Prachinam. If you speak traditional Telugu, it is Sanskritized. Traditional Kannada ಮಾತಾಡುವಾಗನೂ ಅದು ಪ್ರಾಚೀನವಾದ ಕನ್ನಡದಲ್ಲೂ ತುಂಬ ಶಬ್ದಗಳು ಸಂಸ್ಕೃತದಲ್ಲೇ ಇರುತ್ತೆ. Malayalam is also based on Sanskrit, whereas Tamil is not so. So it is very judicious to combine some Tamil and Sanskrit. It's called Manipravalam. Getting back to the point, but today there are many groups in Tamil Nadu who say we will protect Tamil. Tamilai kaappo. They can never protect Tamil. So it is very important how Hanuman says, she gave back my clan. What is giving back his clan? Because a monkey's innate quality is always to be in a confused state. Whether to do this or to do that, to do this or to do that, to become a doctor or engineer. You know, Robert Frost once said, two roads diverged in yellow wood, and sorry I could not travel both. And me one traveller long I stood, and looked down one as far as I could, to where it went in the undergrowth. Then took the one as just as fair, and having perhaps the better claim. Though as for that the passing there. It's a beautiful poem by Robert Frost, The Road Not Taken. So he says that when there is one point where there are two roads, I do not know which one to take. So this confused state always exists in a monkey. So the monkey's innate qualities to always never make a decision, this or that. That's why it keeps on jumping branch to branch. So Hanuman was also a monkey in nature before meeting Ram. He thought, is he my lord? Is he my master? Is he my master? Is he my lord? Is he the one or is that the one? So he kept on changing. The moment he saw Ram, he lost that quality. He thought it is only Ram who is my master. So he lost his monkey's quality of not making a decision. He made a decision that it is Ram. But the moment he saw Sita, he again got confused. It is not Ram, it is Sita. So he got that quality of a monkey back. So it is Sita who gave him this quality. So he felt grateful to Sita for having given back this quality to him. Now, Ram calls Hanuman and says, Hanuman, for the help that you have done, I have nothing in return to offer. And even if I have something to offer that will not be equal to what you have done, the only thing that I feel befitting enough for the service that you have done is a heartfelt embrace. So he says, come here. Apara para vara parika parivida parapura parasvida davadana javana pavana bhavaka vivara parishvanga bharina sarvasvadana, states Vedanta Deshika and Raghuvira Gadyam. So he hugged. And then Vibhishana comes, seeks refuge. Ram constructs the Setu. He goes there and he fights Ravan. And at that point in time, Lakshmana swoons with the Indrajit's Nagastram. So the Pandita, the medical practitioner says, I need 4 types of plants. Sanjeevani, Mrita Sanjeevani, Santanakarani, Vishalyakarani. He gives the binomial nomenclature for it. Chlorophytum gurivilianum, Periplaneta americana, Rana hexadactyla, all these names he gives. So Hanuman is all confused. He's never a biology student. So he flies all the way, crossing the oceans, crossing Tamil Nadu, crossing Telangana, crossing Andhra, crossing U.S.A, crossing Chhattisgarh, crossing Madhya Pradesh, crossing Uttar Pradesh, crossing Uttarakhand, reaching Himachal, Himadri, Shivalis, Kailash Parvatam, offshoot of that mountain. He sees the mountain infested with many plants and does not know which one to choose. So he feels the better option is to take the mountain itself. So he carries the mountain and brings it here, rescues Lakshmana and the swooned armies, and then he goes and keeps it back. Certain people have the habit of taking the object and never they'll keep it back in that place. So he goes and keeps it back. And then on the final day when Ram had to fight Ravan, Ravan had a chariot from where he was fighting. Ram was left with none. Hanuman supports Ram, so he's called Hanumanta Vahanam. And Ram fights with Ravan and Ravan is killed.
Finally, they get when the news had to be conveyed to Sita, Ram tells Hanuman, you go tell Sita that I have won over Ravan. So he goes and tells Mata Sita, don't be worried anymore, because she was worried. What is the result of the battle? He says, don't worry, Ram has won. Sita tells, that day when I saw no ray of hope, it was you who came and told me that Ram will come and rescue. Today when I see that how will the result be, it is you again who comes and tells me this good news. I have nothing else to offer, Hanuman. I can do one thing. I can keep my head at your feet. That time, Hanuman tells, others can fall at the feet of Amma. Amma should not fall at the feet of anybody else. So that very moment, she is given that knowledge, and that is when Tulasidas remarks, Ashta Siddhi Navanidhi ke dada Svardin Janaki Mata Ram Rasayan Tumhare Pasa Sadarapo Raghupati ke dasa Ram Lakshmana Janaki Jai Bolo Hanuman ki. Finally, it was the day in Ayodhya when Ram was to be coronated. Ram was given the ceremonial bath. He wore a white silk with a beautiful sataya cloth. Sita came with a newly blossomed lotus in her hand, moving against each other, and they were covered under the shade of a golden umbrella that was supported by Bharata. They were done the fanning service by Bharata, Lakshmana and Shatrughna. They walked in the court that was an amphitheater that was watched by the citizens of Ayodhya, the monkeys of the Kishkinda and the demons of Lanka, with the Saptarishis having had the golden jars with the seven river waters in their hands. Gangescha, Yamune Chaiva, Godavari, Saraswati, Narmade, Sindhu, Kaveri, Jalesmin, Sannidhim, Kuru. In your country, it may vary Mississippi, Lake Superior, Eni, Colorado, Potomac. So, they walked the golden steps of 18 steps. They sat on the Simhasanam. Ram and Sita sat. Vasishtha coronated them. Ramam Ratnamaye Pithe Sahasidam Sanyaveshayatu Vasishtho Vamadevascha Javani Athakashyapah Katyayanaha Suyajnascha Daudamo Vijayasthata Abhyashinchan Narapyaga Prasannena Sugandhina Salilena Sahasraksham Vasavo Vasavam Yatha Ariyanai Anumantanga Angadan Kudaivalyenda Baradan Venkudaikkavika Manchiruvarum Kavarivisa Virai Shari Kudali Vonga Vennainallur Shadayantangal Maravulur Kudukkavami Vasisthane Punaindan Mauli Chatra Chamara Karavrita Bharata Lakshmana Sugriva Vibhishana Brahmadi Sevitagatri Vasishthyadya Nugraha Patra Dasharatha Putra Manivangabal Yanam Kritana Varata Mandape Vichitra Manimaya Simhasane Sitaya Saha Sucharitra Paramapavitra Guru Havitra Pankaja Mitra Vansha Sudharudi Chandra Pala Ramachandra Mama Vapatavirama. Indra sends a necklace. Ram says, I have already bedecked with so many. He gives it to Sita. Sita tells, I need to give it to the person whom I regard the most favorite, and gives it to Hanuman. So Hanuman has been celebrated in our Shastra, concluding it with the last part of Hanuman Chalisa. You may all sing together if you know of it. तुम्हारे भजन राम को पावे जन्म जन्म के दुख बिसरावे अंतकाल रघुपति पुर जाई जहाँ जन्मी हरि भरत कहई और देवता चित्त न धरई हनुमत से सर्व सुख करई संकट हरे मिटे सब पीरा जो सुमिरे हनुमत बलवीरा जय 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 हनुमान गोसाई जय 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 हनुमान जो शत बार पाठ कर कोई छूट ही बंधि महासुख होई। जो यह पढ़े हनुमान चालीसा होय सिद्धि साखी गौरीसा। तुलसीदास सदा हरि चेरा कीजय नाथ हृदय महडेरा। कीजय नाथ हृदय महडेरा। राम लक्ष्मण जानकी जय बोलो हनुमान की। राम लक्ष्मण जय बोलो हनुमान की। जय बोलो हनुमान की। जय बोलो हनुमान की। पवन तनय संकट हरण मंगल मूर्ति रूप। राम लखन सीता सहित हृदय बसतु सुखरूप। अंजनानंदनं वीरं शोकनाशनं कपीशम् अक्षहन्तरं वन्दे लंका भयंकरम। All of you have heard of Hanuman. While we spoke about Hanuman, the topic was of Hanuman, but we still spoke of Ram. So in your audience, there will be Hanuman for sure. I'm not talking about the children. There will be Hanuman in reality. Yatra yatra Raghunatha Kirtanam Tatra Tatra Kritamasta Kanjalim. That is why in ancient days it was a practice. Whenever Sundarakanda is recited, they will always keep a seat for Hanuman. So even if there is no audience, at least Hanuman will sit and listen. So that is very important. I am so happy that all of you have turned up today. The temple is again organizing such activities to ensure that the literature that we richly share in our religion is reaching the current and the next generation. So it's very important that one's presence is always felt in such lectures. Such lectures are generally a rarity in a region. There may be music concerts, but rarity of discourses. So I would urge again that you bring in more people tomorrow, which is the third day, the last day of lectures in Virginia, the Hindu temple, which is on Rama Bhakti icon, that is on Thyagaraja. So there will be little music as well. So however bad I may sing, you may have to bear with me for the content that it is. So it will be interspersed with the life history of Thyagaraja as well as Ram. So that is the topic chosen for tomorrow. Again, I will be visiting this area close by in Maryland at the Shiva Vishnu temple at Lanham on the 20th of August at 4 p.m. till 7 p.m. for 3 hours. There will be an English lecture on Guruvayur Krishna, the loving son of Devaki and Yashoda. So this is the topic that day. So I have dealt with Ram, Hanuman and Garuda. There it will be about Krishna. That's on the 20th. Tomorrow is a lecture here. 13th to 17th for 5 days I am giving lectures on a variety of topics at Sringeri Mutt in Etobicoke, SVBF Etobicoke in Toronto. So if you've got people there, your friends and relatives who can understand English, the lectures are going to be in English. So you can always ask them to come in the evenings between the 13th and the 17th for a series of 5 days at the Sringeri Mutt, SVBF Etobicoke, Toronto. So this is the plan in the ensuing week. I am going to be there till the 4th of October, visiting 20 more cities and giving 47 more lectures. So it will be very tough for me to even remember and tell what I am going to give, and you remembering it is even more tough. You can always follow me on Mugaputtagam, which is Facebook, or Ungal Kudai, which is YouTube, because certain Tamil followers may want me to be as precise as possible with the vocabulary that I use. So you can regionally translate it to your own languages. I hope you were able to gain something out of the lecture and you will be able to come tomorrow. Thank you. My chip of 220 hours of lectures in Tamil, Vishnu Sahasranam, Bhagavatam, Ramayana on a variety of topics is available for sale. It is a memory chip which can be used in silos, or it can also be used in a combination with a card holder which can serve as a pen drive. So in whichever case you may consult people there, they will always guide you through the process. Thank you. Kavitarthika Simhaya Kalyana Gunashalini Srimate Venkateshaya Vedanta Gurave Namaha. 2 hours, 2 minutes, 13 seconds.
Kshemasthayya Dhyagaraja
Ram